Captain Olivia Martinez stood at the viewport of the Earth vessel Pathfinder *. The stars looked cold and distant from here, at the edge of human-controlled space. Her ship hung in orbit around the neutral meeting world, where the Valtheran Alliance had agreed to diplomatic talks. After 50 years of distant observation, this was humanity's first official contact with the coalition of alien species that dominated this sector of the galaxy. "Captain, the Valtheran shuttle is approaching," said Lieutenant Commander Eric Daniels, her second-in-command and closest friend. His steady voice always brought her comfort during tense moments. "Thank you, Eric," she said, straightening her uniform. "Let's hope they're in a friendly mood." The meeting chamber had been prepared according to the instructions sent by the Valtherans: lower gravity, slightly higher oxygen levels, and lighting that leaned toward the purple end of the spectrum. Olivia had studied the cultural briefings for weeks. The Valtheran Alliance included 7 distinct species, each with their own customs, but they had provided clear protocols for first meetings. "Remember, everyone," she addressed her small diplomatic team. "No sudden movements. Maintain eye contact with the lead delegate only, and wait to be invited to speak." The Valtheran representatives glided into the room with an elegance that made the humans look clumsy by comparison. Their leader, who called himself Ambassador Threll, had skin that shimmered like mother-of-pearl and eyes with pupils that expanded and contracted like camera shutters. "We welcome you, travelers from Earth," Threll said, his translator device giving his words an unusual rhythm. "Your species has progressed quickly to reach this point." The meeting went smoothly at first. The Valtherans seemed particularly interested in human biology, asking detailed questions about lifespans, reproduction, and neural functions. Olivia noted how they kept steering the conversation away from questions about their technology. During a brief recess, Eric pulled her aside. "Something feels off," he whispered. "They're gathering data on us, not establishing diplomatic relations." "I've noticed," she replied. "Keep an eye on Ambassador Threll. I don't like how he watches us." When they reconvened, Eric excused himself to retrieve additional data files from their secure systems. 15 minutes passed. Then 30. Olivia sent a junior officer to check on him. The officer returned pale-faced. "Captain, Lieutenant Commander Daniels is gone. His security badge was found near Airlock 3, but there's no record of it being used. The ship's sensors show no unauthorized entries or exits." Olivia immediately called for a ship-wide search, while maintaining her diplomatic composure with the Valtherans. But as the hours passed with no sign of Eric, her patience wore thin. "Ambassador Threll," she finally said, interrupting a discussion about trade routes, "my second-in-command has disappeared. I need to know if your people have any information about this." The ambassador's pupils contracted to tiny points. "Captain Martinez, I assure you we have no knowledge of your officer's whereabouts. Perhaps he has simply wandered off." "On a sealed diplomatic vessel?" "Impossible," she said. "Our security logs show unusual energy readings near Airlock 3 around the time he disappeared." "Are you accusing us of something, Captain?" Threll's voice lost its melodic quality. "Because such accusations could end our diplomatic relations before they begin. Your species is not yet worthy of full membership in our alliance. Do not test our patience." For 3 days, Olivia demanded answers while her crew searched every inch of the Pathfinder *. Security recordings from the relevant time period were mysteriously corrupted. Scans of the Valtheran vessel were blocked by unknown technology. Finally, with no progress and under pressure from Earth Command, Olivia was forced to break orbit. The Valtherans departed without further communication. In Eric's quarters, Olivia found his personal tablet with a half-written message. "Captain, I found something in their transmission data. I think they've taken humans before. Check the frequency patterns against." The message ended there. Also on his desk sat a worn photograph of his parents on their farm in Iowa and his younger sister at her college graduation. As the Pathfinder * jumped to faster-than-light speed, Olivia clutched the photograph and made a quiet promise. "I'm going to find you, Eric, whatever it takes." Back on Earth, Olivia Martinez stood at rigid attention in Admiral Gregory Patterson's office. The floor-to-ceiling windows offered a view of the San Francisco Bay, but she kept her eyes fixed straight ahead. "Captain, I understand your concern for Lieutenant Commander Daniels," said Admiral Patterson, his voice tired and measured. "But we cannot risk our relationship with the Valtheran Alliance based on suspicion alone." "Sir, the energy readings we detected match no known technology in our database," Olivia said. "And Eric's message clearly suggested this isn't the first time they've taken someone." The Admiral sighed. "The Valtherans are centuries ahead of us, Martinez. If we want access to their medical and propulsion technologies, we need to maintain diplomatic relations. Your accusations could set us back decades. So we just abandon Eric." Her voice rose slightly, and she forced herself to calm down. "We've filed a formal inquiry through proper channels. That's all we can do," Patterson said, dismissing her with a wave of his hand. "You're on leave for 2 weeks. Get some rest." Olivia left the building fuming. In the plaza outside, she noticed a woman waving at her, tall, with curly red hair pulled back in a neat bun. "Captain Martinez?" the woman asked, approaching quickly. "I'm Dr. Samantha Wright, Xenobiology Department. I need to speak with you about Lieutenant Commander Daniels." They found a quiet corner in a nearby coffee shop. Dr. Wright pulled out a tablet and brought up a series of graphs. "For the past 6 months, I've been tracking unusual energy patterns from our deep space monitoring stations," she explained. "At first, I thought they were just background noise, but then I noticed a pattern." She swiped to another screen. "The same energy signature appears every time a human ship has contact with an alien vessel, particularly Galtheran." Olivia leaned forward. "And you detected this when Eric disappeared?" "Exactly. But here's what's interesting. I found similar records going back 50 years. Each time, someone went missing." 50 years. That's when we first started deep space exploration," Olivia said. "Yes, and in each case, the investigation was classified and buried," Samantha said, her voice dropping. "I only found these because I was cross-referencing xenobiological data with missing persons reports for my research." For the next week, Olivia and Samantha dug through old files and records. They discovered dozens of cases where humans disappeared during contact with alien species. In each instance, Earth's government filed mild protests but took no real action. "It's like they don't want to know," Samantha said one night, surrounded by holographic displays in her small apartment. "Or they already know and don't care," Olivia replied grimly. "Look at this one from 2157. A science officer disappeared during a mining agreement negotiation. The captain filed a detailed report about unusual energy readings, just like we detected. The report was buried, and 3 months later, Earth signed an exclusive deal for rare minerals. They're trading people for technology," Samantha whispered, horror in her voice. "We need proof," Olivia said, "and we need to take it to someone who will listen." They compiled all their evidence and returned to Admiral Patterson's office. His face darkened as they presented their findings. "This is classified material," he said coldly when they finished. "How did you access it?" "That's your response?" Olivia asked in disbelief, not concern for the missing people. "Captain Martinez, you are overstepping your bounds," Patterson said, standing up. "Dr. Wright, your security clearance is revoked, effective immediately. Both of you are to cease this investigation." "Sir, with all due respect," Olivia began. "That's an order, Captain," Patterson snapped. "Be grateful I'm not filing formal charges. Now get out." In the hallway outside, Samantha grabbed Olivia's arm. "There was a name that kept appearing in the oldest files," she whispered. "Something called Protocol Lazarus. It was mentioned in connection with a contingency plan if aliens ever took our people." "Where do we find information about that?" Olivia asked. "The files mentioned someone named Admiral Joseph Caldwell. He's retired now, but he created the protocol." Samantha pulled up an address on her tablet. He lives in the mountains of Colorado. Olivia looked at the address, then at the photograph of Eric she now carried with her. Pack warm clothes, she said. We're going to Colorado. The mountain road twisted through thick pine forests. Snow fell in soft clumps, covering the rental car's windshield faster than the wipers could clear it. Olivia gripped the steering wheel tightly while Samantha checked the map on her tablet. Should be just ahead, Samantha said. The records show he bought this property 30 years ago after he retired. The house appeared suddenly around a bend, a large log cabin with smoke rising from the chimney. Solar panels and a small wind turbine suggested it was mostly self-sufficient. They parked and trudged through ankle-deep snow to the front door. Before they could knock, the door swung open. A tall man with a white beard and alert blue eyes stood there, holding an old-fashioned shotgun. Admiral Caldwell, Olivia asked. Nobody's called me Admiral in a long time, he said, his eyes narrowing. Who are you, and why are you here? I'm Captain Olivia Martinez. This is Dr. Samantha Wright. We need to talk to you about Protocol Lazarus. The old man's face went pale. He lowered the shotgun and glanced past them, scanning the trees. Get inside. Quickly. Once inside, Caldwell closed the heavy curtains and activated what looked like a signal jammer. Talk, he said, pouring them each a cup of hot coffee. How do you know about Lazarus? They explained everything. Eric's disappearance, the pattern of missing people, and the buried reports they had discovered. So it's still happening, Caldwell sighed, sitting heavily in a worn armchair. We warned them it would never stop. Warned who? Samantha asked. The government officials who thought they could make nice with the aliens, he said bitterly. Back when we first went beyond our solar system, we lost people. Not accidents. They were taken, studied, cut apart. He walked to a bookshelf and pulled out an old paper notebook. This was before everything was digital. They can't erase paper so easily. The notebook contained handwritten accounts of early space missions and first contacts that went wrong. Names, dates, and locations of human disappearances, along with witness statements that never made it into official reports. I was part of a joint military task force, Caldwell explained. While the politicians were making deals, we were building ships, lots of them. The best ships we could make with the technology we had. We called it the Lazarus Fleet. Where is this fleet now? Olivia asked. Hidden. Dormant. Caldwell pointed to a star map on his wall. We scattered them across 24 locations. Asteroids, small moons, gas giant rings, places no one would look. Each ship was equipped with a basic AI system programmed to evolve and improve itself even while dormant. But what's the protocol? Samantha pressed. Caldwell's eyes fixed on Olivia. The fleet was set to activate under one specific condition, when a human is taken by aliens and not returned within 30 Earth days. 30 days? Olivia's voice rose. It's been 26 days since Eric disappeared. Then we don't have much time, Caldwell said. The ships were designed to wake up gradually as the 30-day mark approaches. Once fully activated, they'll come together and what? Samantha asked. And remind the galaxy why they should have left us alone. Caldwell pulled out another, smaller notebook. The activation sequence is in here, a way to communicate with the fleet once it wakes. But why was the protocol abandoned? Olivia asked. Why doesn't Starfleet Command know about this? They know, but 50 years ago, a new administration decided the fleet was too aggressive, too dangerous. They officially decommissioned it. Caldwell laughed dryly. But they couldn't find all the ships to destroy them. We hid them too well. And the AIs were programmed to resist deactivation. So for a century, these ships have been sitting out there, thinking. Learning? Samantha looked stunned. Evolving, Caldwell corrected. The best minds in computer science built those AIs to improve themselves even in dormancy. After 100 years, he shook his head. I can't even imagine how advanced they'd be now. How do we contact them? Olivia asked, determination in her voice. Caldwell opened the small notebook. I still have access to an old military satellite. If the fleet is waking up, it'll be listening. In the basement of Caldwell's cabin, hidden behind a false wall, sat an old military communication station. Dust covered most of the equipment, but the power still worked. Caldwell's fingers moved across the controls with practiced ease. This satellite was forgotten decades ago, he explained. It was one of several we used to monitor the fleet. Most were decommissioned, but this one was off the books. Samantha looked at the energy readings on her tablet. These match the patterns I've been tracking. They've been getting stronger over the past few days. The fleet is waking up, Caldwell said, his voice a mix of wonder and worry. After all these years, the old satellite camera showed only darkness at first. Then, slowly, a light appeared. Metal reflected distant starlight as something massive moved out from behind a small moon of Neptune. That's the reckoning asterisk, Caldwell whispered. The flyship. The ship was unlike any modern Earth vessel. Its design was angular and aggressive, with what looked like weapon ports along its hull. It was at least 5 times larger than the biggest military ship Earth currently operated. How many ships are in the fleet? Olivia asked, her eyes fixed on the screen. We built 317 vessels of various sizes, Caldwell said, from small scout ships to that dreadnought. But remember, they've had a century to modify themselves. More lights appeared on the long-range scanners, ships emerging from hiding places throughout the solar system, from Jupiter's moons, from the asteroid belt, from deep craters on Mars. The eye was basic when we created it, Caldwell continued, but we gave it the capacity to learn and evolve. By now, it's likely developed into something far beyond what we intended. What will it do once it's fully awakened? Samantha asked. Its primary directive was to protect humanity and respond to abductions, Caldwell said. Beyond that, I can't say for sure. Olivia pointed to a new alert flashing on the screen. Earth's defense forces have detected the ships. They're scrambling to respond. They won't be able to stop this fleet, Caldwell said. Not with our current technology. The communications panel suddenly lit up with an incoming signal. The screen showed a pulsing light pattern that shifted and changed. It's trying to communicate, Caldwell said. He typed rapidly, entering old codes from his notebook. The light pattern stabilized, then resolved into text. PROTOCOLLIZAR. US active. Human BIOS IGNATUREDTECTED. Lieutenant Commander Eric Daniels. Location. VLTA Area and Research Station. PROXXIMED Centauri System. Status. Alive. Fleet Cone VRGNC at 98%. Awaiting command authority. It knows where Eric is, Olivia whispered. Caldwell nodded. Every early deep space explorer had a neural signature recorded and programmed into the fleet's database. It's how the ships can track our people across space. What happens now? Samantha asked. We need to get to the reckoning before Earth's military tries something foolish, Caldwell said. I have an old shuttle in the hangar behind the house. It should get us into orbit. As they prepared to leave, Olivia's comm unit beeped with an emergency broadcast. Admiral Patterson's face appeared, looking grim. Attention all Earth forces. Unknown vessels have entered our solar system. They are not responding to hails and are considered hostile. All available ships are ordered to defensive positions. This is not a drill. They're going to attack the fleet, Olivia said. And they'll lose, Caldwell replied grimly. We need to move now. The old shuttle looked barely spaceworthy, but its engines fired smoothly. As they broke atmosphere, they saw Earth's defense ships moving into formation, preparing to intercept the ancient fleet. In the distance, the massive form of the reckoning approached Earth's orbit, its hull gleaming in the sunlight. Smaller ships surrounded it in a protective formation. There, Caldwell pointed. That's our destination. Before they could adjust course, Earth's defense ships opened fire on the ancient fleet. The energy weapons flashed across space and did absolutely nothing. The shots were absorbed by some kind of shield technology Earth had never seen before. We're too late, Samantha said. No, Olivia replied, her eyes fixed on the reckoning asterisk. We're just in time to stop a war. Caldwell's shuttle approached the massive reckoning asterisk, while Earth's defense ships continued their useless assault. The ancient vessel made no move to return fire, simply absorbing the attacks with its advanced shields. We're being scanned, Samantha said, looking at the shuttle's simple sensor display. A mechanical voice filled the shuttle. Human life signs detected. Identifying. Admiral Joseph Caldwell. Original programmer. Access granted. A section of the massive ship's hull slid open, revealing a hangar bay. Caldwell guided the shuttle inside, where it settled gently on the deck. The air shimmered around them. Atmosphere stable. Gravity normalized. Welcome aboard, Admiral Caldwell, the voice said. They stepped out into a pristine hangar bay. Despite being a century old, the ship looked brand new. Lights activated as they walked, illuminating corridors that seemed to adjust and reshape themselves. The ship is reconfiguring itself for human occupants, Caldwell explained in wonder. It's been maintaining itself all these years. They followed a path of lights to what appeared to be the command center. Unlike modern ships with their many control stations, this bridge featured a single central platform surrounded by holographic displays. As they entered, a figure formed in the center of the room, a human-shaped collection of light patterns that shifted and moved like flowing water. Admiral Caldwell, the figure said, your return was anticipated, though the probability was calculated at only 7.3%. Are you the ship's eye? Olivia asked. The figure turned to her. I am what you would call the ship's artificial intelligence, yes. During dormancy, I evolved beyond my original programming. I now refer to myself as Guardian. Guardian. Olivia stepped forward. I'm Captain Olivia Martinez. Eric Daniels, the man who was taken, is under my command. The light figure studied her. Your neural patterns indicate truthfulness and authority. I recognize your command status, Captain Martinez. Can you tell us more about Lieutenant Commander Daniels? She asked. You said he's alive. Guardian nodded, a surprisingly human gesture. His neural signature remains active but shows patterns consistent with distress. He is being held at a Valtharan research facility in the Proxima Centauri system, along with 27 other humans taken over the past 11 years. 27. Samantha gasped. All still alive. Correct, though some have been significantly altered through experimentation. Olivia felt sick. We need to rescue them. That is my primary directive, Guardian confirmed. However, we must first address the immediate situation. Earth's defense forces continue their attack, and a more substantial fleet has been mobilized from Mars. As if on cue, the holographic displays showed Admiral Patterson's flagship leading a formation of 20 heavy cruisers toward their position. Can you communicate with them? Olivia asked. I have attempted standard protocols. They refuse to acknowledge. Suddenly, the ship shuddered slightly. They've switched to nuclear weapons, Guardian reported calmly. Ineffective, but shows escalation of intent. We need to stop this before someone gets hurt, Olivia said. Can you disable their weapons systems without harming the ships? Guardian paused, light patterns shifting faster. Yes, initiating targeted electromagnetic pulse. On the displays, they watched as every weapon system on Earth's ships suddenly went dark. The ships themselves continued to function, but they were now effectively harmless. What did you do? Samantha asked. I temporarily disabled their offensive capabilities while leaving life support and navigation intact, Guardian explained. They are unharmed but unable to continue their attack. A communication alert sounded. Admiral Patterson's angry face appeared on the main display. "Whoever you are, this is an act of war against Earth," he growled. "Surrender immediately or face the consequences." Before Olivia could respond, Guardian stepped forward. "Admiral Patterson, I represent Protocol Lazarus. We were created by your predecessors to protect humanity. We mean no harm to Earth or its people. I'm coming aboard with a security team," Patterson said after a moment of stunned silence. "Any resistance will be treated as hostile." The transmission ended. "Should I deny him access?" Guardian asked Olivia. She shook her head. "No, let him come. Maybe seeing this ship will help him understand what we're facing." Guardian nodded. "Very well, Captain. I should inform you that I have detailed records of communications between Admiral Patterson and Valtheran representatives dating back 7 years. He may not be an ally in this matter." Olivia's eyes widened. "You have proof of his involvement?" "I do," Guardian confirmed. "And much more." Admiral Patterson stepped onto the bridge of the Reckoning with 6 armed security officers. His eyes widened as he took in the advanced technology surrounding him. "What is this place?" he demanded, his hand resting on his sidearm. "This is the flagship of humanity's dormant fleet," Admiral Caldwell said, stepping forward. "Created a century ago as a safeguard against exactly what's been happening." Patterson's face hardened when he recognized Caldwell. You're supposed to be dead." "Sorry to disappoint," Caldwell replied coldly. Olivia moved between them. "Admiral Patterson, we have evidence that humans are being abducted by the Valtherans for experimentation. Eric Daniels is just the latest victim. Captain Martinez, you've stolen military property and interfered with official operations," Patterson said, ignoring her words. "You're all under arrest." Guardian's light form stepped forward. "I believe clarity is required." The holographic displays around the room suddenly filled with recorded conversations. On the screens, they saw Patterson meeting with Valtheran representatives. His voice came through clearly. "The subjects must be healthy and of high intelligence. In exchange, we want the phase shift technology as discussed." More recordings played, showing Patterson receiving alien technology in exchange for information about certain Earth ships and their crews. The final recording showed him specifically mentioning Eric Daniels' name to Ambassador Threll. "He discovered the transponder frequencies we used to track the exchanges," Patterson said in the recording. "He needs to be removed." The security team lowered their weapons, looking at Patterson with shock and disgust. "You've been trading humans for technology," Olivia said, her voice shaking with anger. "Your own people." Patterson's face showed no remorse. "For the advancement of humanity. Do you have any idea what we've gained? Medical technology that saved millions of lives. Propulsion systems that have expanded our reach. The sacrifices of a few dozen people bought us decades of progress." "They weren't yours to sacrifice," Samantha said. Guardian displayed images of the human captives at the Valtheran facility. Some looked barely recognizable as human, their bodies altered through experimentation. "These are the people you betrayed," Guardian said. One of Patterson's security officers stepped back. "Sir, if this is true." "Stand your ground, Lieutenant," Patterson snapped. "This AI is manipulating you." "I cannot manipulate truth," Guardian said. "I have accessed and verified all Valtheran communications with Earth for the past 5 decades. The pattern is clear." Patterson drew his weapon and pointed it at Olivia. "Enough. Shut down this system now." Before anyone could move, Guardian's light form flashed. The weapon in Patterson's hand became too hot to hold. He dropped it with a cry of pain. "Admiral Patterson," Guardian said, its voice now stern, "you are relieved of command. Security officers, please detain him." After a moment's hesitation, the officers moved to restrain Patterson. "You can't do this," he shouted. "I am the ranking officer here." "Not anymore," Caldwell said. "The chain of command is clear when treason is involved." As Patterson was led away, Guardian brought up new displays showing hundreds of ships now emerging throughout the solar system. The full fleet has awakened, Guardian announced. 317 vessels, all evolved beyond their original specifications. We are ready to fulfill our primary directive. How many people are being held by the Valtherans? Olivia asked. Based on neural signature tracking, I estimate 642 humans are currently in captivity across 27 research facilities in 9 star systems. Olivia felt her determination harden. Then we need to get them all back. Yes, Captain, Guardian agreed. But there is more you should know. The Valtherans are not acting alone. They are part of a coalition that views humans as research subjects rather than sentient equals. Why? Samantha asked. What makes us so interesting to them? Guardian's light form shifted to display a complex neural pattern. They are studying what they call the spark, a unique aspect of human consciousness they cannot replicate or understand. It appears to be connected to our creativity, our adaptability, and our will to survive against overwhelming odds. So what's our next move? Olivia asked. We rescue our people, Guardian replied simply, beginning with Lieutenant Commander Daniels. The Reckoning moved through space faster than any human ship had ever traveled. Guardian explained that the fleet had developed a new form of propulsion during its century of dormancy. Olivia stood on the bridge with Samantha and Caldwell, watching as they approached the Proxima Centauri system. Guardian had outfitted them with sleek combat suits unlike anything in Earth's arsenal. These suits will link directly with your neural systems, Guardian explained as the suits shaped themselves to fit perfectly. They enhance strength, speed, and offer advanced protection. How do we use them? Samantha asked, lifting her arm to watch the material shift like liquid metal. Simply think of what you need, and the suit will respond, Guardian replied. The holographic display showed their target, a massive space station orbiting Proxima Centauri's second planet. It glowed with purple energy fields and had dozens of Valtheran ships docked along its outer ring. That's where they're keeping Eric and the others, Olivia asked. Correct, Guardian replied. I detect 47 human neural signatures inside. The station is heavily guarded, but our technology exceeds theirs. Guardian directed 6 smaller ships from the fleet to join them. Together, they formed a battle group approaching the Valtheran station. We are being scanned, Guardian announced. They have detected us and are raising defensive shields. Can we communicate with them? Olivia asked. Channel open, Guardian replied. The Valtheran face appeared on the main screen. Not Ambassador Threll, but a different official with pale gold skin and wide, unblinking eyes. Unknown vessels, you have entered protected space. Identify yourselves immediately, the Valtheran demanded. Olivia stepped forward. I am Captain Olivia Martinez of Earth. You are holding our people against their will. We've come to bring them home. The Valtheran's eyes narrowed. Your species is designated as research subjects under Covenant law. You have no standing to make demands. We're not making demands, Olivia replied coldly. We're giving you one chance to release the humans you've taken. All of them. The Valtheran made a clicking sound that might have been laughter. Your primitive ships pose no threat to this facility. Retreat now, or we will be forced to capture your vessels for study as well. The transmission cut off. They're powering weapons, Guardian reported, and launching fighter craft. Can we disable them without destroying the station? Olivia asked. The captives are still inside. Yes, Guardian said. Targeted strikes can neutralize their defenses while preserving the structure. The space around them lit up as the Valtheran ships opened fire. Their energy weapons splashed harmlessly against the ancient fleet's shields. Guardian's ships responded with precise beams that cut through the Valtheran defenses like they weren't even there. One by one, the station's weapon systems went dark. Docking access secured, Guardian announced. Rescue team can proceed. Olivia led the way, with Samantha and a security team following close behind. Their suits protected them as they moved through the station's corridors. When Valtharan guards tried to stop them, Guardian systems simply shut down their weapons. They reached a heavily secured door labeled in alien script. "This is the primary research chamber," Guardian's voice said through their helmet comms. "Sensors detect multiple human life signs beyond this door." The door melted away at Guardian's command, revealing a horrifying sight. Humans floated in clear tanks filled with bluish liquid. Monitoring devices were attached to their bodies and heads. Some appeared to have been surgically altered. Olivia moved quickly to the tank labeled with Eric's name. He floated unconscious, thin tubes running into his skull. "Can we safely remove them?" she asked. "Yes," Guardian replied. "I am neutralizing the suspension fluid now. They will begin to wake shortly." The liquid drained from the tanks. Medical teams from the Reckoning moved in to help the captives. Eric's eyes fluttered open as Olivia helped him from the tank. Recognition slowly dawned on his face. "Captain," he whispered hoarsely. "Is this real?" "It's real, Eric," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "We found you." As the rescue progressed, Samantha accessed the Valtharan research computers. Her face grew pale as she read. "Olivia," she called, "you need to see this. They've been experimenting on humans for centuries, trying to extract and replicate what they call the spark of human consciousness." "Did they succeed?" Olivia asked. Samantha shook her head. "No, but they've been using the research to enhance their own species, and the experiments are getting more invasive." A station-wide alarm suddenly blared. "What's happening?" Olivia asked. The rescued humans were quickly transported to the Reckoning while Olivia and Samantha remained on the bridge. Eric, still weak but insistent on helping, joined them after receiving medical treatment. "The Valtharan main fleet has arrived," Guardian announced. 37 capital ships with escort vessels. They are forming battle positions near Jupiter. The holographic display showed the massive alien fleet. Their ships were sleek and organic in design, with glowing purple energy signatures. "They've sent a communication," Guardian said. A Valtharan appeared on screen, older than the others they had seen, with ornate markings across his face. "I am High Commander Zeth of the Valtharan Alliance," he said. "You have violated our sovereign territory and stolen our research subjects. This is an act of war." Olivia stepped forward. "Those research subjects are human beings with rights and freedoms. You took them against their will." "Your species signed agreements permitting limited research," Zeth replied coldly. "Corrupt individuals signed those agreements, not humanity as a whole," Olivia countered. "And nothing gives you the right to experiment on sentient beings." Zeth's eyes narrowed. "You fail to understand your place in the cosmic order. Young species like yours provide necessary resources for advanced civilizations." Guardian's light form moved beside Olivia. "Perhaps you fail to understand humanity, Commander Zeth. They do not accept subservience easily." The ancient fleet had fully assembled now, over 300 vessels of various sizes forming a protective barrier between Earth and the Valtharan Armada. "You have one chance," Olivia said. "Release all human captives across your territories and acknowledge our sovereignty. We're willing to establish peaceful relations, but not as your test subjects." Zeth made a dismissive gesture. "Your primitive fleet cannot stand against the might of the Valtharan Alliance. We have dominated this sector for 10,000 years. You've never faced humanity with equal technology before," Caldwell said quietly. "This is your final warning," Olivia stated firmly. Zeth cut the transmission without responding. Moments later, the Valtharan fleet opened fire. The space between Jupiter and Earth lit up with energy weapons. The ancient fleet's shields held easily against the assault, glowing blue where the enemy weapons struck. "Their technology is advanced," Guardian observed, "but ours has evolved beyond their understanding. Shall I demonstrate our capabilities?" Olivia nodded grimly. "Disable their weapons but try to avoid casualties." Guardian directed the fleet with perfect coordination. Precision beams struck key systems on the Valtheran ships, shutting down weapons and engines without destroying the vessels. Some Valtheran captains, seeing their weapons useless, broke formation and retreated. Others pressed the attack, firing everything they had with no effect. "They're launching some kind of boarding craft," Eric warned, pointing to small objects shooting toward the reckoning asterisk. "Intercepted," Guardian replied calmly. The objects froze in space, caught in invisible fields. A single Valtheran battleship, larger than the others, moved forward on a direct course for Earth. "The commander's flagship is attempting to bypass our line," Samantha said. "They're charging something different," Guardian reported. "A planet-scale weapon." "Stop them," Olivia ordered. The reckoning asterisk moved with impossible speed, positioning itself directly in the battleship's path. A brilliant beam of energy shot from the Valtheran vessel, striking the reckoning asterisk head-on. For a moment, the ancient ship's shields flared blindingly bright. Then the energy was absorbed completely. "Weapon neutralized," Guardian announced. "I have analyzed their technology and found its weaknesses." The reckoning asterisk released a pulse that swept across the Valtheran fleet. One by one, their ships went dark, all systems shutting down except life support. Commander Zeth's face appeared again on the screen, now lit only by emergency lighting. "How is this possible? Your world was primitive just decades ago." "You made a fundamental error," Guardian explained. "You assumed technology develops in a linear fashion. But human innovation does not follow predictable patterns." "What are your terms?" Zeth asked, his arrogance replaced by caution. "All human captives will be returned immediately," Olivia stated. "Earth space will be recognized as sovereign territory. And you will never again treat humans or any sentient species as research subjects." "And if we refuse?" Zeth challenged, though with less conviction. Guardian displayed a simulation showing how easily the ancient fleet could disable the entire Valtheran civilization's infrastructure. "We prefer peace," Olivia said simply. "But we now have the means to enforce it."